Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Greene, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. Thank you so much for your time, for tuning in today. We hope after today's episode that we get a little bit more of your time, actually, by having you reach out to avoyanetwork.com to find out more details about Avoya Travel, see if it's a good fit for you, and possibly have you reach out, talk to a specialist, and start the process to affiliate with the #1 network in leisure travel, the Avoya Network. We've got a great show lined up for you today. One of my favorite friends returning for another visit, Brando Quinn, is the owner of Brando's Fun and Sun Travel, and he's a returning Meet the Network guest today. On his last appearance, Brando shared some amazing stories, tips for those that are new to the industry, shared some of his insights on the resources that he finds valuable that are offered by Avoya Travel to those in the Avoya Network. And we just really look forward to having Brando back on the show here in just a couple of minutes. As excited as I am to welcome my old friend back to the show, though, I must say all of our hearts are certainly a little heavy this week with the devastating news that is coming out of Hawaii, and particularly Maui. We're going to have a very abbreviated eye on the industry news today as we 100% focus on that story. Its widespread impact on the travel industry, of course, but more importantly, it's about the people. Avoya Travel in Hawaii go back over 50 years. That's where Avoya Travel got its original start as a Hawaii tour operator. So to hear the news coming out of Hawaii is just devastating to all of us, and probably devastating to you as well. All of our hearts go out, and we're going to cover that story with a few details coming up here in just a moment. We're also going to take a moment to talk about our ongoing promotion for the military community, the amazing travel agent education powered by Avoya platform, Avoya's best-in-class resources, social media contacts, and of course, your contact for getting that process started to affiliate again with the #1 host in leisure travel. Proud that that's Avoya Travel, and proud to have represented this company for coming up on a decade now. Okay, let's kick it off this week's edition of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update with some industry insights and our abbreviated eye on the industry feature. And there's no doubt there's several stories worthy of sharing this week. We're only going to focus on this one story this week, though. Just sad and devastating, just doesn't really cover it, right? The wildfires that are raging in Hawaii and in Maui particularly. The latest news includes word that the wildfires have razed much of the historic district of Lahaina, once Hawaii's royal capital. The photo that we're using on our slide today was sourced from Hawaii News Now and photographer Richard Olston. It really drives home the point with the before and after of what's happening in Lahaina. FEMA's trying to be on the scene. They're really coordinating with local officials right now. Thousands of people have been displaced. Cell service is down, internet service is down in many areas, the phone service is down. And you're talking about terrain that is hard to get to, so it's really only adding to the issues. As far as the impacts on the travel industry, of course, they're numerous, as you would imagine, a place that is so reliant on tourism and travel for their livelihoods. Multiple hotels are either shut down altogether or have shelter-in-place orders for their guests. The FAA has restricted air in and out of Maui with priority for those having to evacuate. This is still an ongoing situation. Multiple airlines are offering very discounted rates for people to be able to leave Maui, either for probably like Honolulu or maybe some of the other Hawaiian islands. I know there's some that are actually traveling to Las Vegas, a big Hawaii enclave there in Las Vegas with some of those flights. Travel wholesaler Pleasant Holidays, whose primary focus is Hawaii, said in a statement, it's working to contact current guests impacted. And if you're planning on traveling and you're a travel agent, you've got clients that you booked with Pleasant that are getting ready to take off here to Hawaii in the next little bit, and you have to call and change and find out what's going on, please be patient. They said, please do expect long hold times. Their jobs being hampered by, again, that lack of cell and internet and phone service to the island currently. They report they have currently approximately 400 guests plus employees on the island of Maui. And again, it's just a sad situation. I mean, as a company, as I said before, that has its roots as a Hawaiian tour operator, all of us at Avoya Travel, and I think I can speak freely for everybody in the Avoya Network, offer our deepest sympathies to all that are impacted. We offer our condolences to those that have lost loved ones during this tragedy. Our hearts are broken by your loss, and we promise to stand behind you in these days to come. Okay, let's try and move on and recapture the normal energy and the spirit that our show normally has. Because I have to tell you, I'm really excited to welcome back our featured guest this week. His support of our program from the start has been incredible. He is certainly one of our big fans here at On Deck with Avoya, and we can't thank him enough for that. And I think if you listen closely to what our guest has to say, you just might learn a few things along the way today. So please help me welcome back our great friend On Deck with Avoya, Brando Quinn, owner of Brando's Fun and Son Travel, an independent agency in the Avoya Network. Brando, it's so great to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Chris. Chris and I were talking just pre-show, just to let you know that we've known each other for about 10 years. Chris was very instrumental in bringing me into the Avoya family. So I really have just the best intentions for your show here, Chris.
Certainly appreciate that, Brando. And man, that decade sure went fast, buddy.
It sure did. We were saying we might have a few extra gray hairs, but we haven't changed too much.
No, absolutely. Before we get too far into the interview, Brando, can you give us a bit of your amazing backstory and how you ended up in the travel business and affiliate with the Avoya Network?
Well, first I wanted to start on the Hawaiian fires. My wife and I, we got married on Maui, on Kanapali Beach in Maui. So this is kind of devastating for us. One of the buildings that burned up, I think, is where we got our marriage license down in Old Lahaina. So this morning, my wife and I, we did make donations to the Hawaiian Red Cross. So if there's anybody out there who's listening to your show, I hope that if they have the time and the means, that maybe they can make some donations to help those unfortunate people that have been affected by this.
That's a great offering, Brando. Thank you for bringing that up.
Sure, you bet. So your question was how I ended up in the travel business. So I guess if I went back as a kid, the travel for my family as a kid, we kind of parodied, if you ever saw that movie with Chevy Chase, Family Vacation. So we would load up in the family truckster and put Edna on the rooftop and head out to some place to camp or somewhere to see the big ball of yarn out in a remote place or something like that, and eat our bologna and cheese sandwiches at the rest stops along the way. So but I did learn a lot while we did on those trips. Like, for instance, did you know which US state is most famous for their extra small drinks?
Oregon.
No, Minnesota. Minnesota.
Oh boy, here we go with the jokes.
Yep.
You've been with Steve Hirshand too long.
Learn things like, how do parents say goodbye to their male child in Buffalo, New York?
Not sure. This one.
Bye, son. Bye, son.
Oh, geez.
BIS1, Buffalo, New York. Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's my best jokes. So road jokes. So yeah, learning road jokes and things like that. After graduating from high school, though, I joined the Air Force, and then I started my own travels. I have traveled through 49 of the US states, and then I found myself in the US Marines, traveling around the world. After the Gulf War, I left military life, and I think my travels from that point on were very specific of trying to find friends everywhere in the world. I realized how devastating war can be, the effects of war, and I realized I wanted to find friends in every country around the world rather than find enemies in countries around the world. So I traveled through, I think I'm going to be hitting about 52 foreign countries here next month, and just got a love for the travel. I decided to open my own travel agency in 2012. I affiliated with Avoya Travel in 2013. I got onto cruise ships then, learned the luxury of joining cruise ships and being on board and visiting foreign ports. I've done about 50 cruises now, and I'm telling you, 2012, I decided I could help travelers in my own town, or traveler wannabes, to become actual travelers, and started helping them put together trips and things like that. And it's just kind of rocketed from there.
Last time we had you on the show, Brando, we heard about your contact with the world famous Von Trapp family from The Sound of Music.
Yeah, that was
Any
a-
new any new brushes with celebrities since your last appearance?
Uh, well, let's see. So that particular trip, I was on an AMA Waterways river cruise on the Danube, and then we did the Sound of Music tours when we were in Austria. And when I got back, I wrote an article for our small town newspaper that was published, and it was about the Sound of Music tours and going to Mondsee and those various places where that film was filmed. And Carla Von Trapp, who lives up in Vermont, called me. She got the article sent to her, and she called me, and we just had a nice chat. So a very wonderful person. I haven't met any particular celebrities since then, Chris, but at least celebrities that we know in, say, Hollywood or something like that. But, you know, we've got a lot of celebrities here in the travel business. And most recently, I ran into Rainer Marks from Viking River Cruises, and Cheryl Hudak from Cayman Islands Tourism. And of course, coming back to your show, Chris, one of the most famous Avoya Travel faces. Always a pleasure. So,
Man, you know how to butter up a guy, Brando. Well done, sir. What about your agency? Tell me about Brando's Fun and Sun Travel and some of your specialties, the clientele that you service, and what makes that, in your opinion, a good fit with the Avoya Network.
okay, I have a brick and mortar agency here. Let me just kind of show you around my place here for a second here. But anyway, we are a brick and mortar agency right here on Safford, Arizona's Main Street. And I have been in business since 2012, helping, like I said, my local travelers. I affiliated with Avoya Travel and got into river cruises and ocean river cruises, ocean cruising. We help our customers with the airlines, resorts, all-inclusives. Jamaica, Mexico, Hawaii is really a big staple for our agency as well. Lots of travelers here from Arizona heading over to, places like that. So I joined Avoya Travel, and my particular agency books well over $1 million a year now, and there's no way that I could have done it without the Avoya Travel family. Jeff and Michael Anderson, as you know, they're the co-CEOs of Avoya Travel, and they are two of the most innovative, responsible, most integrity people that I've ever met. They have the most integrity of anybody that I've ever met. We couldn't be happier with them taking the helm and the direction that they're taking Avoya Travel. Avoya Travel's got the best training programs. Laura Burke, I think she's been very instrumental with Avoya University in training new agents. She certainly helped me when I first joined. We got Ashley Hunter, the Senior VP of Partnerships, Daniel Rigo, who's doing our business intelligence. I mean, Avoya Travel is just, it's one of the best agencies. I have not one day of regret of ever joining with Avoya Travel.
That's great to hear. What are you hearing from clients these days, Brando, as far as their desire to travel? Do they have any concerns? Is it just like pedal to the metal, let's go?
It's more pedal to the metal. Let's go. I think the COVID crisis, as you know, stopped travel for most people for that couple of years. And I think people just had as soon as the floodgates were opened, they were like, well, we have to travel now. I mean, we have to travel while we can, because we don't know when the next stoppage will come. My numbers in my agency are up, I would say at least 34%. From what they were in 2019, and 2019 was my very best year with Avoya Travel. So travelers are traveling. There's more travelers. Number one, I'm taking on new clients, more clientele. And then the travelers that I've been booking over the years are spending more, and they are looking at traveling longer. Yeah.
So Brando, Avoya Travel is proud to say that what we have and what we offer is a shared success business model, very unique in the industry. I know what it means to us on the employee side, but I'm curious, when you hear those words, shared success, what does it mean to you as someone in the Avoya Network?
So shared success to me, it kind of links it's the win-win. So it's a win-win for everybody. I joined with Avoya Travel. That was a win for my travel agency. It's a win for Avoya Travel itself because I'm bringing my clients, I'm bringing clientele to our network. That's a win-win. Our network has built over 60 plus years. They've built, I guess, relationships. It's all about relationships with the suppliers, with other travel agents, and coming Avoya Travel's humble beginnings, beginning in Hawaii as just a brick and mortar travel agency as well. It's just the share win-win, share. It's we share our knowledge with our travelers. Avoya Travel shares their knowledge with the suppliers to us. We do the training programs, we learn, and then we have relationships with our district managers. We have relationships with those in corporate Avoya, and then we have the relationships with our clients, and we just bring those together. It's a win-win shared success model. Yeah.
Are there certain resources, Brando, that you find that are offered by Avoya Travel that you find are most useful in helping you generate sales and efficiency and all of those things for your agency?
Avoya Travel, I mean, if there's anybody out there in your show who is looking at joining an agency to become an agency in the Avoya Travel Network, like I said, this is my going on 10, 11 years with Avoya Travel. It's the best host agency out there. I mean, they have of the training, the supplier resources, the agent power system that we use. It keeps track of our customer trips. It helps us to send reminders. It helps us to navigate each trip professionally and successfully, which is good for our customers. It's good for the agents. It's good for the agencies. The live lead generated system, it's unheard of, I think, in the travel industry other than Avoya Travel, where they generate live leads. Somebody goes to Avoya Travel, they say, hey, I'm interested in a Royal Caribbean or a Princess or whatever cruise line they're interested in. And then Avoya Travel pairs up with an agent who's a specialist in that particular product. It's a win-win. It's that shared success product. I think Avoya Travel is just the best innovative agency out there, host agency for travel agents. And I've got not one day of regret, Chris, of being a part of Avoya Travel. Yeah.
So you've been around the game for quite some time, 11 years, you said, with your agency, very well-traveled individual. What do you think, Brando, are some traits that end up making for a great travel advisor?
Well, a love for travel. I mean, it's got to be, that's kind of a no-brainer. I would hate to see people come in to be a travel agent or a travel agency owner and not actually have a love for travel themselves. The money can come in, the money can go, but the love of travel never, ever leaves a person. So I think that's number one. As a successful travel agent, I think knowledge. Learning the products is always great. Avoya Travel has an Avoya Travel University to learn our own system, but then we also have a new system for travel agent training programs that then affiliate you with CLIA and ASTA, those agencies that are responsible with governmental agencies over the travel industry itself. The sustainability that cruise lines are trying to get to and other areas of travel so that travel is sustainable. Those agencies and things that look out for the world and the impact that travel has on the world. I think that to be a good travel agent, you have to have particular attention to details. So you want to make sure that everything that you tell your customers that you're going to do for them is done and that their trip goes as smoothly as possible. Most of my customers come back and they say, your trips, Brando, are always as smooth as butter. And I love to hear that because, you know, very limited complications. Sometimes, you know, a flight delay or something are out of our particular expertise. We can't do things about those sometimes, but we try to make it as smooth as possible. And I think every travel agent should at least strive to make their customers' trips as smooth as possible.
Brando Quinn, owner of Fun and Sun Travel, an independent agency in the Avoya Network, is our featured guest today and a returning guest to On Deck with Avoya. Brando, I'm going to hit you up for a couple of pieces of advice. One, for those that are thinking of getting into the travel industry? And the second one, maybe for an experienced agent, but still trying to get to that like $1 million level that you were discussing, and some advice that you think would help benefit them in their business.
Okay, well, let's start with that second one. So the time. So your time is really the one thing that everybody in the world has is 24 hours a day, and that's all we have. So our time is of value. So use that time wisely. Use that time as wisely as possible. If you're getting to that level to where you're wanting to hit the $1 million a year, you have to navigate your time and use that as wisely as possible. You have to work with clients that want to work with you, and clients who take up your time who don't necessarily want to work with you. My philosophy is, anybody can book a trip out there anywhere almost nowadays using the internet, but can they get the value of, like in my case, a traveler who has traveled 52 foreign countries and been on 50 cruises and backpacked through Europe, and can they get the advice of how I've navigated each one of my trips successfully, and they've all been successful. I've never had a trip that wasn't successful, and I think my mindset has always been it's got to be an adventure, and as long as you're an adventure, whatever happens on an adventure is what's supposed to happen on an adventure. So I think I have an adventurous spirit. So for those who are looking at increasing their business or wanting to be the travel agents, get out there and enjoy the products. Man, I've talked with, I don't know how many captains on the cruise ships, how many staff officers on the cruise ships, to get to know them personally, to get to know my room steward, to get to know my waiters on a cruise ship, to get to know them as a person. And, how long have they been with the particular product that they're on, and where does their family live? I tried to speak a little bit of their language if they're from a foreign country. I mean, get to know the people who are in the travel industry and love them for having something in common with you, which is travel, and just go for it. That's what I say, go for it.
Great bits of advice. So when you get a chance to get away from the office, what kind of things are Brando currently doing for fun?
Well, my wife and I are getting ready to embark on AMA Waterways 7 River Journey. So that's sailing from Paris, France, all the way to Bucharest, Romania. Our final shore excursion is going to be at Dracula's Castle in Romania, there, Bucharest. And we will be traveling on the water for 47 days, 3 days pre-cruise in Paris, France, to do a little bit of touring around Paris. I lived in Paris for a year. I love that city. I love the French people and French food and everything French. So we're going to be traveling for about the next 50 days, and we leave in 10 days. And that's our big lifetime event here, 7 Rivers of Europe.
Have you ever been anywhere close on a trip of that length? I mean, 50 days, 7 rivers. You said 3 ships, right?
Yeah, that's going to be 3 ships, 3 different ships. We did Africa and we did Egypt. So 2 weeks in Egypt, 2 weeks in Africa, and then 4 days in Jordan. That was about the longest trip that we'd gone. We were probably gone about 40 days on that particular trip. Or excuse me, not 40 days, but we were there 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So there's 28 days. And then we did some side excursions and stuff like that. So maybe around a month has been the longest. So this will probably be the longest trip that we've ever done. Yeah.
You think you're ever going to get tired of seeing new places, Brando?
Never, ever. My plan is to hit all 7 continents and as many countries as I can. And like I said, after the Gulf War, I decided I wanted to make friends in every single country that I can. And so I do. I connect with people. We stay friends on Facebook, and I just love travel, and I love seeing this beautiful world that we live in.
Brando, we've got a couple more for you before we wrap up today. One, I just wanted to give you an open forum to share any thoughts on the travel industry in general, or maybe your relationship with Avoya Travel that you think is important, but we haven't yet covered today.
Well, Avoya Travel, for those who aren't travel agents or in the industry, Avoya Travel pairs you with a specialist of whatever product that you're looking for. So if you're a customer out there and you've got questions about Avoya Travel, they've been in business for 60 years, have built supplier connections for 60 years. We have, I believe, what is it, over 1,500 travel agents in the Avoya network. They live all across the country, and I think we have some in Canada and elsewhere as well. We are happy to help the customers who are just getting started in travel. We don't have fees. My agency's never charged fees. We get paid by the suppliers, and there's no extra charge. We always find the lowest prices, the best deals for our customers. So we save you time, we save you money, and we have a love for travel. We love what we do. So please go to Avoya Travel for if you're looking at building some trips or building out some relationships with a traveler yourself.
Absolutely. AvoyaNetwork.com is certainly where you can get all that information. Last question, Brando. We've hit you with this one before, and it's obvious, our whole conversation, it's clear you love travel, you love the industry, but let me ask you, why are you optimistic about its future?
Well, I'm optimistic about its future because there's a lot of people in the industry now that are looking at sustainable tourism, that they don't want over tourism in any places. And so they are taking steps to maximize tourism, but minimize impact. I think tourism, well, people travel, you have to travel. It's the one thing I think that makes people rich, truly rich in culture, truly rich in understanding various places in the world, being able to understand history. I'm a real history buff, and I love the history of every place that I go. That's why I'm looking forward to the Seven Rivers trip, because the history of each town that you go in, here in the US as well as abroad, the history goes back just sometimes thousands of years. When we were in Egypt, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, Africa. Here in the US, 300, 400 years, and before that, the native tribes that were here. It's just a long, long history. So I think travel will always be sustainable. We have enough people in the industry and even the government that want to see travel continue and make it available for people at prices that they can afford. So, yeah.
Brando Quinn, everyone, owner of Brando's Fun and Son Travel, an independent agency in the Avoya Network. Brando, as always, great to share time with you.
Thanks,
I'm
Chris.
so excited for you and your wife and the Seven Rivers journey. I can't wait to follow that by following your business page and chatting with you as soon as you get back, my friend.
I'll keep you posted, my friend.
Next week, we're so lucky, back-to-back Meet the Network segments as we welcome in Annette Hernandez, one of the great independent agencies in the Avoya Network. We can't wait to get Annette's input on the current state of travel. We can't wait to tell her unique story and how Avoya resources help her and her agency continue to excel. That's next Thursday at our normal time here for On Deck with Avoya. Let's quickly talk about our promotion with the military, our ongoing military promotion. If you've been watching our show for a little while, you may have noticed a kind of a trend of many of our affiliates that we featured over the last couple of months. I know Tony Sasso was that way, and Brando, former members of the military. And I've said it time and time again, but they make great travel agents because they're well-traveled. They understand the nuances of travel. They're curious. They're history buffs. They're very disciplined. So we're proud of this promotion where we're taking $100 off the affiliation fee for active or retired military personnel and their spouses. AvoyaNetwork.com has lots of information. My team, I'm more than happy to help you get qualified for that promotion. Travel agent education. I was on with Gina Hoyt earlier today just chatting, and wow, is that going gangbusters, considering that this program really just launched at the very tail end of 2022. The amount of people that are coming through the program and the success stories that we're hearing from those that have completed this travel agent education powered by Avoya is inspiring. They're selling more. They're generating fewer customer service errors. They're closing at higher rates and for higher amounts. All of the early benchmarks that go into making an amazing travel advisor, travel agent. And it's because the curriculum is so fantastic. So hats off to Gina and her team. It's available in both written and audio formats. It includes the memberships in ASTA and in CLIA. And of course, if you finish that program in a not too long of a period of time, like 60 days, and it's only 30 to 40 hours of time, once you finish, we'll take $100 off the affiliation fee here at Avoya Travel. And then you get access to the best-in-class resources that Brando was talking about: agent power, live leads, marketing, dedicated support, pick up the phone 7 days a week, professional development, Laura Burke, her early success program, Sandy Magoon and her team over there at Avoya University, Danny, who we had on the show recently, in brand sales, that sales coaching, that individual, that mentorship. It can just take your business to new heights. So reach out to Avoya Travel. And of course, make sure you give us a like or a little subscription, or make the bell ring, all of those cool things, depending on what platform you happen to be watching our show on. You can always follow us at Avoya Travel Network on social media. Never miss a beat, that's for sure. And then, of course, make sure you go to our website, avoyanetwork.com. It is where you're going to get the most information about Avoya Travel. I welcome the email to chris.greene@avoyatravel.com, or you can pick up the phone and give me a call. Certainly happy to have that conversation, get you connected with one of our affiliation specialists. But don't wait. Now is the time. Travel is surging. You heard Brando say his business up like 34% over 2019, which has been the benchmark for the amazing years in travel industry. So if this is your dream, get involved. We'd love to hear from you. Avoyanetwork.com. Big thanks again to Brando Quinn, that amazing conversation. Thank you again to Annabella in trade marketing for producing our show. Again, my heart goes out to everybody who are battling those wildfires in Hawaii and in Maui and who've been impacted, and certainly hope all those that are traveling there are safe and are able to be reaccommodated. We thank you for being part of On Deck with Avoya. Until next week, take care, my friends.